One of my goals for the new year was to create more fun and interesting videos. And a comment I see a lot is I don't have those tools, I can't do that nail art. While I'm a firm believer in you're only as good as your tools, there are tons of random things you could use as nail art tools, and that kind of made me want to challenge myself. So in this video, I'll be trying to do nail art with I also want to try to do more laid back voiceovers. I do write out sort of a basic outline for what I want to say in videos because I will go off on a tangent if I don't do that. So we're going to try to just, talk this video and we'll see how it goes. So obviously we're going to need spaghetti. I'm using bronze cut spaghetti. I don't know if that means it's tougher than your regular old spaghetti. It still broke a lot, so I don't think it is tougher. So spaghetti alone by itself in its natural form is going to be like pretty much a large dotting tool, but I found if you cut it with scissors, which it cuts super easy, surprisingly, you'll get a sharper point, which is what I ended up doing to do most of the nail art. So now we've established we'll be using bronze cut spaghetti. We're gonna base coat. So I applied base coat. I used my Maxus one. That's my favorite one. I think it makes my nails grow longer and it protects against crazy colors like yellow, which I will be using for my base color. I'm using like a dark mustardy yellow. It's gonna be darker than the yellows I put over top so that it will make those pop and kind of just add some dimension to the whole nail design. So next I'm taking sort of a sunshine yellow polish. I think this is Tropicana by KL Polish, and I put that on a separate piece of paper and I'll be dipping into that with the spaghetti noodle. I already feel like I'm getting behind the actual video. That's why like voicing over is so hard. I just prefer to just write down what I'm gonna say and kind of just use that so that I'm not lagging behind the actual video. But I also just want to try and be more authentic and personable so you guys can actually relate to me and you don't think I'm just a robot talking and doing crazy things on my fingies. So as you see, I'm just using the very edge of the spaghetti noodle and I'm making just pretty random squiggles. I did have to dip back into the polish a bunch of times, which is why I'm going to speed this clip up times 8. There was no rhyme or reason. I tried to do like loopies, because that's how spaghetti is. It's all tangled up and stuff. And I also went in with 3 different colors of yellows. That's just going to add dimension and make it look like all the spaghetti is laying on top of each other. And as you can see, the spaghetti breaks a lot and I just have to cut it and keep going. Another thing I did is once I had all 3 colors of spaghetti noodles on there, I went back over with the first color that I used and I went over parts of the noodles where they were overlapping just to make some of them look like they're closer to the surface. I think that just helps it look more tangled like real spaghetti would be. I also didn't take all of the noodles completely off the nail. I left some of the ends showing because that's kind of how it would be. They'd be like sticking up all over the place. So then I did that on the rest of my nails. For my middle nail and my ring fingernail, I'll be doing like sauce. So I didn't worry so much about how many noodles there were towards the right or towards the side of my nail where I'm going to put the sauce. I mainly focused all the noodles on the opposite side. So I debated on whether I should do spaghetti nail art with a spaghetti noodle or like try to actually do nail designs that are nice and like pretty with a spaghetti noodle. If you'd prefer in the future for me to do like practical designs with obscure things, let me know. I am just trying to, try something new and I wanted to challenge myself because I really think if you practice enough, your skill set will go up and it doesn't matter what you use, you can achieve like pretty good looking nails. I know this isn't practical. No one's gonna want to recreate this, but it was fun and I enjoyed challenging myself. And also, I just dipped a spaghetti noodle in acetone and used it to remove polish on my skin. It worked. It wasn't the most pleasant feeling, but it definitely did work. So once I am happy with how my noodles are looking, I'm going to apply a matte top coat over that because I'll be applying sauce and then I'll put a shiny top coat on top of the sauce just to add some variety to it, and it kind of helps separate it. And I also think noodles are matte, you know what I mean? So that's just making it look like there's real spaghetti on my nails more. For the delicious spaghetti sauce, I'll be using 2 shades of red. The first one is a very bright, vibrant red, and it's also jelly-ish, which is going to give me that translucent vibe that spaghetti sauce kind of has. And I'm also going to add a darker red to it, and I'm just going to swirl that around in it so that it naturally marbles. Then when I apply that to my nails, I don't really have to try to make it look thicker in spots or build it up in spots. It's just going to have that effect naturally. I debated on whether I should do this kind of design where I split the look in half between 2 nails. Overall, I think it's more like, oh yeah, that's spaghetti. But on my thumbnail, I did do the sauce on the whole nail, which I'll show you at the end. So if you do recreate this, you have 2 options for applying your sauce. The way I'm doing it here, I split the I guess you call it the puddle of sauce in half, and I would also flip my hand over so I could see what it looks like lined up, just to make sure I'm getting the shape pretty even. And I also went around the edge of the sauce with the more translucent red to kind of make it look thinner in those areas. And here I am again using a spaghetti noodle to clean up any polish I have on my skin. Hello darkness, my old friend. I let the sauce dry a little bit. It was pretty thick, so it took a while to dry down. I needed it to be dry enough so that I could put meatballs over top, or vegetarian meatballs for all my non-meat eaters out there. I did the same thing with the meatballs as I did with the sauce, but I used a dark brown and a more caramelly brown to add texture to it. It just kind of makes it look lumpy. I also didn't do this on a piece of paper. I just did this straight on my nail, and I think the more you play with it, even if it gets kind of like tacky and stringy, the more realistic of a meatball it looks. Once I was happy with that, I also went over top with a little more sauce to make it look like some of the meatballs were underneath the sauce. And no spaghetti and meatballs is complete without Parmesan cheese. So to replicate this, I actually shaved the noodle. I grated the noodle. I shredded the noodle for Parmesan cheese. I did this on a piece of paper, a small piece, so that I could literally just sprinkle it on top of my nail. And to get it to adhere, I actually applied some clear polish over top of the sauce in the spaghetti noodles, and then I just sprinkled it on. Tell me when. If you go overboard on the Parmesan cheese like I did, you can kind of blow off the extra, or you can actually just take your finger and like tap over parts that you don't want so much of the Parmesan cheese to stick to, and it goes away, because apparently when you shred a pasta noodle with scissors, it's like finer than dust. Like I couldn't even pick it up on my fingertip to apply it, which is the first way I tried to do it. So there you have spaghetti nail art with a spaghetti noodle. I was actually really proud of how this turned out because I didn't think it would work as well as it did. Maybe it wasn't a challenge enough. If you guys have any suggestions for what tool I should use next to create nail art, you can just comment down below, and the one with the most thumbs up is what I will do next. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to see this series continue, you can let me know your thoughts down below, or if you didn't like it, you can let me know. If you decide to create some nail art with a spaghetti noodle, I would love to see all of your creations, and you can share a picture with me on any of my social medias that I have listed below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and I will see you next time.